Since I got back from my trip, I haven't really been buying as many books, trying to save money, slow down a little bit, I have to store all these books that I'm buying. But I have still been buying some. So I thought we'd do a book video today and go over a few that I bought in the last couple weeks. So first up, we have a novella by Edwin Abbott. Okay, his middle name is the same as his last name. And he was a schoolmaster, a priest, and a writer from, I think, the, second half of the 19th century, and he wrote Flatland. Okay, and this is a very unique novella. It basically puts you in the perspective of somebody living in two dimensions, and it's kind of like a work of geometry and math, but in a speculative science fiction kind of way. I haven't read it yet, but yeah, I'm not really imagining there are many other books like this, so I'm interested to travel to two dimensions instead of three. So that's the first one. Second one we have is, one more fun fact about Edwin Abbott. His parents were first cousins. Not sure what your thoughts are on that. I just thought I'd add that tidbit in there. Maybe that's why he was thinking of all these crazy theories, because he was a little bit messed up from the inbreeding. Anyways, next up we have Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's The Lost World. Okay, most people know Doyle for his Sherlock Holmes series. Of course, this made him very famous, very pioneering in crime fiction. But he wrote other stuff too, and this book, The Lost World, is about an explorer who goes into the Amazon rainforest and goes up on this large plateau and discovers this lost world of dinosaurs and vicious apes that are in war with the Native Americans, and just kind of a very strange place. And it was actually influenced by Jules Verne's Journey to the Center of the Earth. So it's in the same genre. The genre actually is called Lost World genre, which came from the title of this book. So it actually helped influence the genre by giving it its name. Anything else I want to say about this? No, I think that's all for now. Next up, we have a very controversial book, and that is Nikos Kazantzakis' The Last Temptation of Christ. Okay, I have a very beautiful black and red binding here. Who's it from? Faber and Faber. Now, I haven't read this yet, but I'm not exactly sure why it's controversial. I think maybe it's because it depicts Christ in too worldly a way, and kind of takes away from his divinity. And I think Kazantzakis himself didn't believe in literal Christianity. I think he kind of more saw things as symbolic, and yeah, so obviously that would be considered blasphemous. But it's a very interesting retelling of Jesus' life, where instead of dying on the cross, he does still die on the cross, but before that he does so, he has this dream where he's tempted to live out a normal life, where he marries Mary Magdalene and becomes a dad, has kids and stuff, and then he ultimately rejects that that normal life and chooses to still die on the cross. But yeah, anyways, it's supposed to be very sort of deep and philosophical, but yeah, haven't read it yet. Anyways, the blasphemy from this book did catch up with Kazantzakis because, being Greek, he was part of the Greek Orthodox Church. They tried to excommunicate him, but they were unsuccessful, and eventually, when he died, he was denied funeral rites from the church because of this book. So, was it worth it? I don't know. Next up, we have something I'm surprised I haven't heard of before, because apparently it's very popular, and that's Raphael Sabatini's Captain Blood. Now, I was reading the summary or plot of this book, and it sounds awesome. I wish I would have read this when I was 12 or 13. It's about this guy who is a doctor, okay, named, I forget his first name, but Dr. Blood. I mean, come on, a doctor named Blood. That's a little bit too on the nose, maybe. But anyways, this guy, Dr. Blood, he starts caring for these people, but these people that he's caring for, or doing his doctoring work on, are a part of some revolution. They're rebels. And so he is kind of indicted as an accessory to the crime of conspiring against the crown. And so he's sentenced to, penal servitude in the Caribbean. So he's sent off to, do slave labor for 10 years. But he escapes with some of the other convicts and becomes a pirate. and terrorizes all the Spanish ships, but kind of spares all the English ships. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, and then eventually I think there's like a redemption at the end where he becomes like a mayor or governor of some island, and yeah, like forgives the person who was trying to kill him or something like that, and marries the girl, of course. So yeah, just an awesome swashbuckling adventure story. Interesting fact about Sabatini, he was Italian but spoke 6 languages, English being his last, I think. So, but he penned all of his novels in English. It's not a translation, because he thought that all the best stories were written in English. So he himself tried to emulate that. Anyways, yeah, I am looking forward to reading this, and I hope there's a movie too. I didn't look that up. I would imagine there would be, but yeah, this is an exciting book. Next up, we've got some August Strindberg. Okay, now he was Norwegian, I believe, a Norwegian playwright working kind of at the turn of the century, from the 19th to 20th century, and he was associated with Emile Zola and the idea of naturalism in the theater. So trying not to depict something fantastical, but something normal, everyday life, right? So instead of maybe having like a king or some nobles, they depict everyday people. Instead of them being like perfectly morally black and white, good and evil, there's like moral gray, and maybe the hero has failing qualities, like they're petty or they have some sort of secret temptation or something. So yeah, Miss Julie is the one that's listed on the front of here, but the one I want to talk about in here, actually, that he received similar critical acclaim for, is actually The Father. Now, that one is about, I'll just summarize it briefly. It's about a husband and a wife that kind of disagree on how their daughter should be brought up. I think the mother wants her to stay home and be an artist. The father wants her to be trained in school to be a teacher. And so they're kind of disagreeing. And then, and so the husband is like, well, you don't get to decide, like, I'm the man. And then she's like, well, you don't get to decide because actually you're going insane. And he's like, what? No, I'm not. But then she sets out to kind of prove that he is, and so she finds this old letter of his that he wrote that claiming that, oh, I'm worried I might go crazy. And then what's the other thing that she kind of orchestrates? Oh, I'm forgetting now. What is it here? Can I pull it up on the computer? Sorry, this is boring for you, but yes, the father thinks that he found proof of life on another planet because he looks through this spectroscope, which is like a new type of telescope, and he thinks there's proof of organic life on meteorites. And so she's like, well, that's crazy, that can't be real. So then she kind of, I don't know who she involves, the priest or the law or something, and then they're having this argument, and she provokes him to throw a lantern at her. And that as soon as he does that, that's kind of like seals his fate, right? And so he's just waiting for the straitjacket to come and to get locked up, and then he like has a stroke and dies or something. And yeah, I don't know if there's like any point to the story, but it's just kind of crazy. And yeah, I've never read any Strindberg. I don't know if I'll like him, but yeah, interesting enough to add to the library, I suppose. Honestly, whenever I see Oxford Press or Penguin Classics, I'm like, I consider it. It's usually worth buying. Next up, I've got a beautiful, although tattered, little paperback here from Arthur C. Clarke. Okay, Arthur C. Clarke, one of the big 3 in science fiction in the golden age, 50s and 60s, along with Asimov and Heinlein. Now, Arthur C. Clarke, most famous for co-authoring the screenplay for, come on, it's on the tip of my tongue. Space Odyssey, 2001, of course. Now, in this one, it's pretty short, bit of a novella. It's about a conflict between independent space settlers and the Terrans, who kind of control Earth and the Moon. And there's this guy, a mild-mannered accountant, living on the Moon. And the reason it's called Earthlight is because at some point in the book, he's kind of admiring how the light shines from Earth onto the Moon, kind of the reverse of moonlight, right, that we would observe on the Earth. And he's tasked with finding a mole or a spy who's working for these independent space settlers against the Terrans on the Moon. So maybe a bit of a mystery or a whodunit. I'm not sure, but yeah, looking forward to reading Earthlight. And lastly here we've got 2 books by C.S. Lewis. The first one is a collection of sermons that Lewis gave during World War II called The Weight of Glory. I don't know if I have much more to say about that, but I love these older Lewis editions. They're so nice. Yeah, it's kind of annotated in the middle. And it's typeset so beautifully too. Like, look at these chapter headings. Lovely. And then the second one here that I will say more about is The Pilgrim's Regress. Okay, so everyone's probably heard of The Pilgrim's Progress. I don't know when that was written. Oh man, very long time ago. Let's see, 1678 for Pilgrim's Progress. And it's written by a guy named John Bunyan, and it's about this guy named Christian. It's kind of like an allegorical story of people trying to get to heaven, right? So this guy named Christian, very aptly named, is trying to get from the city of destruction to, what is it, like the city of light or something like this. Sorry, I've been cheating and looking at the computer a fair bit. Celestial city. He's going from the city of destruction to the celestial city, which is heaven. And so he encounters all of these like typical or archetypal problems that Christians come against. Now, in The Pilgrim's Regress, people have called it kind of Bunyan updated, or he kind of brings the Pilgrim's Progress into the 20th century. Now, I don't know exactly what happens in here because I haven't read it, but yeah. I guess it just kind of shows the problems that the average Christian in the 20th century would come up against, and how to, or at least how Lewis moves past those issues. And I will give you a flop report on this one. It is very flexible. What other word can I use to describe that? Loose. That just sounds weird. Anyways, yes, it flops very good. So thanks for tuning in. I have 5 more new books here as well. Not quite enough for another video, but hopefully I'll be able to film one in a few weeks. Yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching.